Okay. This morning we do the recap of the previous chapters, and then if you are coming for the afternoon one, then we do like further macro topics. So let's try demand supply first. Okay, so this one should be a short one. Let's say explain the impact. Okay, so this one just as a warm up, right? Earlier topics. Okay, so you see if you recall how to explain or to write down the answer. So explain the impact of a rise in income, the higher cost of production of raw materials on the market for housing. Okay, so here we have two triggers, two events taking place. First one, we have a rise in income. Second one, there is a higher cost. They also mentioned that what has gone up in price, right? The raw materials. So maybe the brick, cement, etc. Then we are looking at the impact on the market for housing. This is it here. Okay, so the same few things that we always look for, right, for the question. So this one straightforward, right? If you recall. So how we do this, we'll start off by looking at what framework, what concept to use. Okay, so looking at the whole phrasing here, and also just now we mentioned this is on demand supply, right? Because the impact of some events on the market for a product. Okay, so it's a specific product, so it's under micro, and we want to look at the market. Okay, so let's say the first function, okay. So if you recall, right, for demand supply essays, we usually start with definitions of demand and supply. Okay, this one is even just even though they don't mention anything on supply here, right? So just bring the concept and then we'll define these two terms and then we'll get out of it. So this is for the starting so okay, right. Okay, so the intro, this is just the warm up or just a start. So after we are done, right, then we go on to look at the factors. This will be where the main portion. So let's say we look at first one, there's a rise in income, right? So if you recall, there's a rise in income. This is a factor. The first thing that we do is we have to think about whether it affects the demand or the supply of product. Okay, so every factor one side, right? We cannot use it both sides. So now there's a rise in income. Does this affect the demand or the supply of housing here? Okay, then after that, you are going to decide whether demand or supply, is it going to go up or is it going to go down? Okay, so from these two considerations, these two questions, we choose either one answer. Okay, so rise in income affects consumers or affect firms like us. Yeah, twist here. Okay, so income affects the consumer, right? Because they are earning higher income, higher wages. So now you have higher income. Are we likely to buy more houses or are we likely to buy less houses? If you are across the board earning higher wages, are we likely to buy more as a country, as a market, or are we going to buy less units or fewer units than before? Yes, anything more? Okay. So apart from this, any special phrase or any special words we have to mention in our answer? So demand goes up, okay, demand goes up for housing. So anything that we need to use is our answer, any words as part of your answer. So income is our factor, any special words we have to use as well that they are looking out. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Anything? So any special words that we must use in explaining. So demand will go up because they have more money to buy, right? So apart from that, any keywords special. Okay, can higher purchasing power is one, the purchasing power. And anything else? One more. So the factor is income, then we have to mention this assumption also. Let's say I have higher income, right? Then the case here could be public transport. Then we could say, oh, probably likely the demand for public transport will fall, right? Because we have higher income. So then how would we explain that? What is the reason assumption? Towards. 这是 buy a house. Yeah, anything. So we assume something about housing, right? Because we say we got more money, we will buy more houses. Why not less? Maybe you don't want to buy a house, right? Or we made the assumption that you buy more houses. So we are assuming that housing is a housing boom. housing is. So every paragraph, check that there are 4 things before we move on. Okay, so you need to state the trigger. So they're earning higher incomes. We have done this, right? Your first step. Then after that, we need to explain, right? So I have to mention why higher incomes affects anything or affects your product. So we started to explain here higher purchasing power. We made the assumption that it is a normal good, right? So all this. Okay, so let's have to here. All right. So this will be your explanation. Okay, so first part, second part, right? Then along the way for explanation, we use 2 keywords, phrases. Okay, so you have higher purchasing power. This one need to mention. We also have normal good. This one is mentioned. Okay, so normal good must have. So we are done with 2 steps already. Use this keyword. After that, the demand goes up, right? So the demand here is higher than before. So we this, and then subsequently you have rightward shift the demand curve. Okay, so this will round up your first paragraph. All right, this one is your checklist. And subsequently coming back here, there's higher cost of production for raw materials. Okay, so along the way, of course, if you find that, let's say for this file, I have an example to use, then you can also use it. All right, just pop it in and then go on to your next paragraph. Let's say, for example, okay, just click here, for instance, okay, here, issues. Okay, so we go to the next paragraph. Okay, can. So next paragraph, we have to talk about higher cost of production. Again, so higher cost of production, again, think about whether it affects the demand or the supply for housing, right? This one will be supply, and then we supply for supply to. Okay, so your entire cost, this will reduce the supply. Okay, or you'll be built slower. Okay, so, okay, check. All right. So again, check for your 4 steps, right? You have a higher cost of production. This is your trigger. Then the second step is started to explain, right? So here we see that there's a higher cost, there's a lower profitability. You can also mention that they are less incentivized to produce. They may want to switch to producing other things, right? So this one, you can be flexible. Then later on, we also talk about a decrease in the supply, right? That's your third step. Then we then subsequently the last step we said that there's a leftward shift supply curve. Okay, so again, check that we have 4 steps here. Finish, then we move on. And so we can give an example for this as well. Let's say we talk about during COVID. Okay, so now we have done the explanation. We are almost done, right? So example with explanation. So the final part of the essay, we need to draw the diagram. Okay, now this portion, we need to think a bit more because you have 2 shifts, simultaneous shifts. You have the increase in demand and also you have a decrease in the supply. Okay, so if you do your working, right, just put it here. Yeah, so let's say you have a higher demand, right? Then ceteris paribus, this will push up your prices. This will push up your quantity. Okay, so this is what we need to see. Okay, what we need. So this one you can scribble somewhere, or you can just plan it in your mind. See what. So this is for ceteris paribus, right? Then subsequently we also have the supply reducing. This will give you higher price and then lower quantity. Okay, so this is for our own reference. Okay, this is for our own reference. So now you're going to put them together in the diagram. Okay, then we need to look out for the common things first. So you see that prices will definitely go up, right? So no matter how you draw, right, with the shifts and all, your prices must be higher. Okay, if your prices are lower, right, something should. Okay, so both will push up prices. Next thing, we see that higher demand pushes up the quantity, lower supply pushes down the quantity. So next thing, how do we draw the quantity or how do we decide on the quantity, right? Is it going to be higher? Is it going to be lower? If you put it like the same, right, it's theoretically okay, but realistically, it's not going to be the same. Okay, unlikely the quantity will stay the same, right, with all these changes. So we have to also decide, do we show higher equilibrium quantity or do we show lower equilibrium quantity? So you can think about the situation, let's say during COVID, do we see significantly fewer houses being built? Or let's say with higher income, do you see like people buying a lot like crazy? Okay, which one seems to be more likely case. Okay, okay, I'll just okay, okay, this one no right or wrong, right? But you can decide as long as you can justify can. So quite likely the supply effect would be quite high. But this one again, you have to decide on extent. Okay, you also have to compare. Do we see like the income rising rapidly by a lot? Or let's say, do you feel that supply is going to drop drastically, right? Then that will likely be the determining factor. Okay, but quite likely this one will be across the board with the higher cost of production, whereas higher demand may not be so much lah. So you have higher income, but you could be buying other things, right? We're not going to spend everything to buy a house. Not everyone's going to buy a house. So probably the extent of increase will not be that significant. Okay, and this one you don't need that many houses, right? It's also expensive. So you're not going to buy like 5 more houses because you got a $100 increment in salary. Okay, so probably we go with this. So once you decide, right, they're going to shift the supply curve to the left by a larger gap, right? And then the demand will shift by a smaller gap. Okay, I meet myself first down, then I use the iPad to draw, right? Otherwise, got echo. Okay,
So what the QS is 0?
if you, let's say you somewhere around here, right, then your QS would be like a positive now.
Okay.
Just somehow do it here.
Okay.
Spinner. So we shift demand curve right, then you shift supply curve left, so the gap here will be larger. Okay, that's one thing. See where you shift, right? Then you position your QS and your QD at time. Then after that, right, we need to explain the adjustment process. So that's why we label the shortage as well. Okay, so the shortage will occur between your QS quantity supply and QD quantity demanded. So the difference between these two quantity, arrows here showing later on the adjustments, and then the new equilibrium point. So this one, the Q1 must be lower than Q0, right? Because we're going to explain it that way. And then the P1 definitely has to go up, right? So if your Q is on the right side or even the same, still okay, but the price must be higher. Okay, otherwise wrong. So both effects will push up the prices. Okay, but the quantity still can say that it's a bit not so clear. Okay, then little things like labels, the arrows, then just put it in. Okay, and let me remove the diagram first. Okay, let's come back to okay. The few things here. So you have the shapes of the curves, then at the initial equilibrium price. So we start the explanation of the adjustment process from this part. Okay. So at first we were at equilibrium price P0. So this will a special price, okay, where quantity demanded and quantity supplied are equal. Then after that, we see that there was a shortage, right? You have to explain quantity demanded more than quantity supplied. So again, do not use demand more than supply, right? Because you are looking at a specific price P0. So it must be the specific quantities at that price, okay? So don't use demand supply here, use quantity demanded. Then after that, upward pressure, this will push up the prices. Then as the price goes up, right? So over here, use price. This is different from just now where we use equilibrium price. Okay, the difference must also take note. So then later on, the Qs, the quantity demanded, quantity supplied change until they are equal, and now we have a higher equilibrium price P1. Okay, so all this straightforward. The last paragraph, we will just talk about the equilibrium quantity change. Okay, then finish. Okay, keyword for this paragraph, we have to mention indeterminate, right? So this one means that we don't know clearly. Okay, it's not clear cut, it is not so obvious. It depends on certain factors, right? Such as how much your demand supply change. Okay, so let's say for this, we explain that likely supply will decrease more because across the board producers will face a higher cost, right? In contrast, consumers have higher income, but they may not spend on housing. Many also do not buy more than one house, right? So if you're staying already, then likely buy. So that will be the consideration. Roughly, this will be what we have for the demand supply sale. Okay, see how, right? Sometimes they have this come out, but probably not so high. Okay, so see our luck. So anyway, this one just as a warm up. So the next one slightly more difficult. We look at just perfect competition. Okay, this turn on for this section. Plain. Yeah, we've done revision, then later the new topics. Okay, I think over the past week I've done like 10 times. Okay, so this one, to recap on the characteristics of perfect form, the probability of this coming up for your exam, whether for school one or IB next year, should be higher than demand supply. Okay, because this one more challenging. Okay, so if you recall, we started with this market structure in this chapter, right? And then we looked at the characteristic. One of them will be the adjustment process between the short run and the long run. Okay, so the question says how perfectly competitive firms earning abnormal profits in the short run achieve long run equilibrium. Okay, so we start with the short run first. This one will be more in terms of chronological order. What happens at first, which is the short run, and then later on, what is the adjustment process, and then what do you get at the end, which is the long run. Okay, so we have four key phrases here that we highlighted. First one, perfectly competitive firms or perfect competition. Second one, abnormal profits. This will be how much you're earning first. Short run is the initial period. Now, this one here, we can split into two keywords. Okay, first one will be like the long run, right? So the long run refers to the period. How do you define the period? And then later on, what do you mean by long run equilibrium? Okay, so at first we were earning at normal profits. Later on, they only earn normal profits, right? That is the long run equilibrium. So you have to state all these things as well. So this example will show you that you need to space out your definitions because we have easily five already. Okay, one, two, then three. Short run is three. Long run is four. Long run equilibrium is five, or normal profit is five, right? So you will get five ready. Do not all one shot be five. Okay, so space them out. Start from what happened at first until the end. So with this, we usually start with defining perfect competition. Okay, PC for perfect comma. Okay, so a market structure always few things that we need to have, right? How many firms? We have many firms. What's the size? There are small firms. Okay, so perfect com, you need to have many small firms. And then everyone is selling identical product, right? Homogeneous, or you say identical product. No market power. They cannot set their own prices. They can only sell at the market price, right? If you want to use the term price taker, also can. So if you want just if they are price takers, then no barriers to entry. So you can exit and enter the market freely. So that will be the first this whole feels book chunk is the definition for perfect com. Okay, so you define one phrase or one term. We can give the example here. So for instance, so this part just clear off the example. Okay, if you want, you can put it below, up to you. One example will be the potato. You can talk about any fruits and vegetables. So essentially, too many people are selling, right? Let's say globally, and then it seems to be identical, right? It's not much that's different physically. So then also entering the market, it seems to be easy, right? So if I want to plant some potatoes and sell today, there's not much barrier stopping me, right? So I can easily do so as well. So it's actually quite considered to be perfect market. Okay. So last part, we just copy the question, then we can add off the introduction. Okay, no issues. So short run, right? We have to explain what happens first, right? And then how do you get your abnormal profits? So we will start with defining short run first. So short run, if you guys recall, right? Long run, short run, there's no corresponding duration. There's no fixed duration, right? It doesn't mean that it's going to be like 1 month is short run and then like 2 years is long run, right? As long as you can vary your capital goods, you can alter the quantities of your machineries, that will give you the long run. Okay, so the short run, you have the fixed capital numbers, right? I have 5 units of fryers, then I cannot change that. Then that will be the short run, right? Let's say I'm McDonald's. But then once I order the fryers and they eventually come, let's say 2 weeks later, 1 week later, that is the long run. Okay, let's say if I'm ordering aircraft, right, I'm the airlines, then long run could be a longer duration because it takes time for the airplanes to fly over. So the long run, short run will be different across industries. So we start with the short run first. So First thing, short run, period where you have at least one FOP being held constant. Okay, so this will be capital goods, machineries. So the next part, we say that PC firms assume to be profit maximizers. This is an assumption, right? Because if they are not, they will not produce where MC goes to FR. Okay, so all along we have assumed that they are profit maximizers, which is why we draw it where, so we draw the quantity they produce at, this is where MC goes at. Okay, if they are not, they will produce some other quantities. All right, so if you mention this, then marginal cost, this one marginal cost, marginal revenue, right? In case you forgot. So marginal cost, how much you spend to produce one more unit, and then marginal revenue, how much you earn from selling one more unit. All right, so this will give you the quantity first. Okay, so all your market structure they will produce here. All right, this is what we assume. Then subsequently, because the question starts off with abnormal profits. So we have already established the quantity. Now you need to establish the profit level, right, which is abnormal profit. Okay. Okay, let's do the experiments. Okay. So we established the quantity, right? We call this, we haven't drawn the diagram, so there's no Qmax. So if you want, you can use that. If not, we just call it the profit maximizing quantity. So firms earning abnormal profits will have higher average revenue compared to average cost. Okay, so your AR is higher, the AC will be lower, right? Then you get the abnormal profits. So AR is the revenue earned for selling each unit on average. AC is the cost to produce each unit on average. So that will be the explanations. Now, here to explain or to define abnormal profit, we say this is positive economic profits. So if you recall, economic profits and accounting profits a bit different, right? This one just to recap. So in terms of revenue, it's the same, right? If I sell one unit and I get $5, that is the revenue, right? But let's say if you look at how the accountants look at cost, right? So if the company spends $5 on raw materials, right, that will be considered as accounting costs, right? Because we actually spend $5. But the economists also look at the opportunity cost. Let's say, for example, I want to use this factory, right, to produce something. So the factory is fine. I do not actively, I did not explicitly pay anything for the rental, whatever. I'm just using my own factory. But because you are using your own factory, you cannot rent out to someone, and you could have collected maybe $10,000 per month, right? If you rent it out, but you are not doing so and you use it for yourself. So the economists will also consider the $10,000 of cost. Okay, so in this case, after factoring in the explicit cost, what you actually paid, and also the op costs, we are still positive, right? The revenue is still higher than all these costs incurred. So this is actually a good thing lah for the firm. Okay, so they're earning abnormal profits. All right, so here we can draw the diagram, or if you want, you can continue to explain, up to you, right? So we are more or less done with the short run already. Okay, so the definition we have done for short run and positive profit. So this will clear two definitions: abnormal profit and short run. Okay, so if you want to continue explaining all the way, then draw also can. If you want to stop here and draw, then later continue, also can, up to you, right? So let's say if we draw here, then later on you can just straight away explain the diagram with me. Okay, so I draw, I'll mute first to avoid the echo. Okay, very tedious diagram. Okay, finish. Can, okay. So for perfect comps here, we need two diagrams, right, side by side. Okay, so we have the market and then the firm. If you want to swap places, also can lah. Okay, this one a bit flexible. So we have the market on the left side. This will be where demand supply will take place first. So we get P0 and Q0. Okay, then we map out, or we dot across P0 to the right side diagram. Then your horizontal line across, this is marginal revenue, average revenue, and the demand curve. Okay, so for perfect form, right, one line will give you four things. This line indicates the price where all the firms are selling. It will indicate the marginal revenue. That means when I sell one more unit, what do I get? I will get P0, which is $5, $10. Okay. then on average, every unit will earn you P0, right? Because every single unit is sold for the same price. So when you divide, they will all give you P0. And demand curve is horizontal because it is perfectly price elastic. Okay, so perfectly price elastic, that means once you change your prices a bit, the response is infinite, right? So you can sell as much as you want at this price, but the moment you change your prices, the response by consumers will be infinite. Okay, then later on we drew the MC curve first. This will give you Qmax. Okay, so Qmax, this will be your profit maximizing quantity. Along here, right, we also drew in the AC curve. This is your average cost or average total cost, right? So along this dotted line, right, this is Qmax. Along this dotted line, we'll need to find the average revenue first, which is on this piece, and then where it touches your AC curve. Okay, where it touches your AC curve, you can do a dot here. Then the difference between them will give you your abnormal profit. Can see, all right. So this box here, right, or this area is not bounded by two black lines technically, right? I can adjust my lower black line a bit so that it is not totally just line. Now it seems like I'm just shading the area between them, right? But actually the boundaries are not. So the lower black line is not relevant at all in my area. Instead, right, let's say if I dot here, I will have drawn the dotted line across so that this will be my lower boundary. Okay, you can see the dotted line. So that this area is the abnormal profit. Okay. Alternatively, if you have to show the subnormal profit, then the area will be somewhere here, right? Depending on how big the gap is, okay, or how big your area is. All right. So this one you adjust. Now, once you have this, your short run is done. Okay. We are going on to the long run. So in the long run, the story is because the firms are all attracted to the market, they will all come in and sell the same thing. Okay, so we see, oh, selling potatoes is so profitable, right? Earning millions of dollars. Let's all start selling potatoes. So the market supply is going to increase and increase and increase. Okay, we will show this by the rightward shift of your supply curve, right? But now when we draw, because we need to know the endpoint, right? I cannot just draw randomly and then later on it doesn't match nicely. So what I do is we reverse back. So let's say for the right side diagram, right, our endpoint will be that the P1, the newer horizontal line, will touch the minimum point of your AC. Can see, so the P1 line here, right, touches the minimum point of my AC curve, right? This is where it will give me the new profit maximizing quantity. This is my new Qmax. Okay, then from here, I will do the dotted line back to the left side, find the equilibrium point, and then I'll draw S1 across. So when we explain, this will come first, but when you draw, this side you can draw first so that you know how much to shift your curve. If you shift here randomly, then later on it doesn't match, you have to redraw, right? This one we mentioned many times now. Okay, so now you just put in the labels P1, Q1, P1 here, Qmax, etc. Okay, then after that, just check through all the labels in place, the arrows in place, then we are done with the diagram. Okay, so rough recap all the different curves, also the elasticity. Yeah. So hopefully all this comes back. Then you can forget again after next week. Okay, then January come back and check again. Okay, so I removed the diagram now. So last paragraph already to explain. Long run, all factors of production are variable, right? That means you want to change capital goods, you want to change your labor, whatever quantities up to you. Okay. Then later on, you have free entry, free exit condition. New firms will start to enter, and then as more firms enter, market supply boosts, right? So we see that explanation wise, we have to talk about the market first. Okay, then when we draw the firm first so that you can dot across, right? The P1. So then market supply goes up, the supply curve shifts rightwards, and then later on the price will start to fall. Okay, reducing the profits, and then subsequently quantity will go to Qmax 1, and then they are at break-even level or just earning the profits, right? So easily we can check one thing, which is that you have fulfilled all the definition requirements. Okay, so perfect competition we have actually defined at the start. Then abnormal profits we have done so here, right? This paragraph we highlighted. And then short run we have done so in the second paragraph. And then later on, for long run, we have also defined in this last paragraph. Okay. Also, the equilibrium is the normal profit, right? So we have to talk about that. No profits, no loss. Or if you want another word, another phrasing, break even level. Okay, so break even, normal profit, no profit, no loss, same thing. So then this will be the long run equilibrium. So the adjustment process will stop here, right? So no firms will come in anymore because if they continue doing so, then it will turn to subnormal profits. And no one wants that, right? So we will stop at the normal profit, and this will be the long run equilibrium. Okay, the reason because you have wait, the reason is because you have free entry and free exit. Okay, so the reason for this is the free entry, free exit. So if you contrast with, let's say, monopoly, with like oligopoly, right? The barriers are very high. So therefore, in the long run, they can earn abnormal profits. Okay, because the firms cannot come in freely, right? Like I cannot just start a new bank today, right? As I please. I need a license. I need the government's approval, right? So the competition level cap. Okay, but let's say today we all love to sell potatoes, right? I want to start growing potatoes in my house and start selling. I can do so, right? No need license, don't need anything much, right? Just start selling. So that will make the competition level much higher for this kind of. If there's nothing, then we'll just stop here today.